woman older than me. We sit down, and she has a split right up the front of the leg. We had to move. We had to move. What are the moral effects of this exposure? A loss of a sense of shock. We have magazines laying around with filthy pictures in them, and it doesn't even move us. And our children are absorbing it like plastic.
This is an impromptu Salty and Religion, and I heard a little bit of the radio show I was listening to. At first, the lady was talking about brain functions and television and how it affects the behavior of children, which I agree. Too much television is not a good thing. Too much of anything is not a good thing. But the longer I listened to her, my opinion started to change, or form, that's a better word. My opinion started to form more about her own behavior and her own opinions. Anyway, she was talking about how television is evil and you need to get rid of it, or alluded to that anyway, because she quoted a Deuteronomy verse that says, you know, don't bring abominations into your house. Of course, I don't think they had any televisions back in the biblical days, unless, you know, you believe in ancient aliens or anything. But anyway, and then she goes on to talk about how when she took her kids to the mall and they walked past Victoria's Secrets, and she made her kids look straight and not look into Victoria's Secret, you know, and say, oh my gosh, I was horrified. And then that last passage, she was talking about how she used to dress in more flattering clothing, and the preacher of her church came by and kind of hinted that it was unladylike for her to dress so flatteringly, and she needed to be more modest, so she got rid of all her flattering clothes. And I'm thinking, I get it, you know, I understand, but I also see it's kind of like when smokers stop smoking and they become like the worst anti-smoking people in the world. They kind of overcompensate for what they did, you know, when they were sinful. And I wouldn't say the danger, but the thing you have to be careful of is that, you know, she's speaking from a position of authority, and kind of from one of my Salty and Religion videos, somebody mentioned it was argument of authority or something like that, where you speak from a position of authority, so it alludes that you are correct just because you are in a position of authority, even though you may not be correct. And some of the things she says is like that she claims the Bible says is like, yeah, literally it says that, but you're adding on things or alluding things that I don't see the how it ties into what you're saying. Whereas she, you know, basically what I get from what she said is, you know, you can't let any what is that, influence, you know, of sin into your life, but it's all around you. You know, you can, it's like, to me, yeah, you can try. I get it. I'm not knocking her. I mean, I respect her belief, but I'm just sharing my opinion on what she said, and it's just hard to get my head around that. Maybe because maybe I'm the one that's wrong, you know. But it just didn't seem realistic to me. Didn't seem realistic way to try to live your life, even as a religious person or as a spiritual person, because I don't connect what she thinks the Bible says to what reality is. You know, just from the short time that I listened to her, the gist is, and I'm gonna try to not go overboard, but you should live a boring life. She says, don't watch sitcoms. Sitcoms are evil. Don't wear clothes that accentuate your physical structure of your body, because that'll lure men to evil thoughts. Let's see, was it don't let your kids watch television? You know, don't go to the mall because the mall is an evil place. And it's like, don't leave your house. You know, go to church, go home. It's unrealistic. I think it does, in my opinion, it does your children a disservice to shelter them from all that. Now, granted, you know, you don't want to say, hey kids, this is an adult film, you know, you need to know about this. There's a time and place, but to shelter them from everything because it might corrupt them, it's unrealistic. You have to teach your kids about these things at the appropriate age level, you know, and you know, because they're gonna see it, and you know, and she was kind of admonishing parents, you know, why are parents letting their girls dress like prostitutes? Why are they letting their boys dress like pimps? Those are her words, not mine. And I get that, you know, there are age appropriate clothing that you as a parent, you need to be a parent and dress your children appropriately within social norms, whatever that is to you. You know, we in society know what a norm. Now there are Jerry Springer types that don't get it, but they're not the majority. They are the minority and the freaks of nature. But to shelter your children from all of it, or to try to shelter your children from all of it, one, I think it takes away from your joy, because you're always kind of at war with society, and ties in with my video on forgiveness. You know, it consumes you. It consumes your day, and back to another video that I talked about. There's a thing called the reticular activating system. Whereas when you know you want to look for a green Jeep, all you see are green Jeeps. So when you're always on aware of things that might be sinful or things that might corrupt your children, it consumes you. That's all you look for, and it wears you out, to me. But hey, that's your thing. But I just it was really a hard sell to me, you know, after listening to her for 5-6 minutes. You know, I try to raise my children to be respectful, to do you know, the golden rule, do unto others kind of thing. And we go to church. I share what I believe with them, you know, and I do expect them to do the right things. I do expect them to make good decisions, because we're the parents. But beyond that, you know, I don't hide anything from them, because and a lot of people may disagree with me, because what's going to happen when there's that one thing, you know, if I try to hide everything from them, or tell them a story that doesn't quite make sense. She was talking about there was a poster of a lady drinking wine, and her kids were looking at the poster, and then she made up this story that, oh, well, that lady's making moms and dads want to go to the bar and drink wine and get drunk and then leave their families or something. I mean, it was like a really whacked out story. Well, okay. And she was really happy that her kids are now associating with wine with being evil, right? Well, okay. Fast forward, what's going to happen when her kids grow up and they see their friends drinking wine, but then their friends don't go home and leave their families, their friends don't get drunk and go home and do bad things? Then they're going to be like, well, what else did mom make up that wasn't true? And then they're going to start experimenting. You know, it has happened. It does happen all the time. You know, you hear the...
In 0.8 miles, keep left.
You hear about kids who go off to college who were raised in real strict households, and they go nuts. They go crazy because they've been under the thumb of their parents all their lives, and then they're like, hey, this isn't bad. You know, having a couple of drinks isn't bad. Or, you know, going out with my friends, going to the mall. You know, the thing that she said about her, you know, they don't go to the mall because it's evil, but they have to. Then don't go. Or leave your kids with somebody else and go. But then, as soon as your kids leave the house and they know that their friends go to the mall, but their friends aren't like evil people, you know, it doesn't connect. I mean, her kids are going to eventually grow up.
Continue 11
and
miles.
put two and two together and say, yeah, mom was kind of whacked out. I guess this is more of a rant than salty in religion, but it hinges on, you know, how religious people can kind of be their own worst enemies and can be countering their intent when they raise their children in such a sheltered way. Again, I'm not a perfect person, but I just see from my experiences that over sheltering your kids doesn't work either. Again, moderation. Everything is moderation. It's the theme of the ages. You know, everything in moderation. Reasonable things, let's put it that way. You know, I don't think there's any moderation to killing, well, not killing, but murder. I don't think there's any moderation to stealing. You know, the Ten Commandments, there is no moderation to the Ten Commandments. But you know, in your everyday life, you know, just try to, you know, I don't know. I'll just leave it there. All right. Thanks for watching. God bless. Take care.